Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you very much for your kind association. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। विद्यातपो वित्तवपूर्वयः कुलैः सतां गुणैः षड्विरसत्तमेतरैः स्मृतौ हतायामृतमान दुर्दृशः शब्दा न पश्यन्ति धाम भूयसाम्। गुणाधिकान्मुदं लिप्सेदनुक्रोशं गुणाधमात् मैत्रीं समानतन्विच्छेन्न तापैरभिभूयते। यो अन्तःप्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। भक्तिं मुहुः प्रवहतां त्वयि मे प्रसङ्गो भूयादनन्तमहताम् अमलाशयानां येनाञ्जसोल्बणमुरु व्यसनं भवाब्धिं निःशे भवद्गुणकथामृतपानमत्तः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are continuing our study of Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 14, entitled The Story of King Vena, text 33. Correct? Text 33. को वैनं परिचक्षिता वेनम् एकमृते शुभम् प्राप्त ईदृशम् ऐश्वर्यम् यद अनुग्रह भाजन. Translations and purports by our beloved founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhai Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Shripad Maitreya Muni is speaking to Mahatma Vidurji. But for King Vane, who is simply inauspicious, Ashubham, who would blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose mercy one is awarded all kinds of fortune and opulence. The rishis and munis in the kingdom, they tried to put some good sense in the mind of King Vane by doing some dharma upadesh, teaching him about the duties of a king. However, King Vane was not at all receptive. He was not at all receptive. And in fact, he started saying that Lord Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, Vayu, Indra, they all reside in my body, and therefore it is your highest duty to worship me. He told the sages like that. He told the sages, accused them that they were envious of him. And then what happened was, because Vena was so unintelligent and so audacious, the rishis and munis became very upset with him. and they, out of their anger, they were discussing among themselves, and they said, we should kill the king. This king is very impious, impudent, we should kill him. In text 33, they are saying, but for King Vena, who would blaspheme Bhagwan? So it's a rhetorical question, which means no one would blaspheme Bhagwan other than King Vane. He is the worst. By the mercy of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, one is awarded all kinds of fortune and opulences. Prapta idrisham aishwaryam. All the aishwarya opulence comes by the anugraha, by the mercy of Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan, this Vane, is blaspheming. Text 34. Itham vyavasita hantum rishayorudha manyavah nijagnur hunkritayr venam hatam achyutanindaya. The great sages, the rishis, thus manifesting their anger, their covert anger, immediately decided to kill King Vane. Actually, King Vane was already as good as dead due to his Achyutanindaya, due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Lord Achyut. The word Achyut means one who is infallible, one who cannot fall down. Thus, without using any weapons, the sages killed King Vane simply by high sounding words, simply by doing hunkar. Just angry word, like that. Is that hunkar? They killed King Vane. ऋषिभिः स्वाश्रमपदं गते पुत्रकलेवरं सुनीता पालयामास विद्यायोगेन शोचति. After all the sages returned to their respective hermitages, the mother of King Vane, Sunitha, became very aggrieved because of her son's death. It is said generally that no matter how sinful the child is, the mother is generally very kind, very merciful. Sometimes the father may discipline, but the mother is loving. Even though Hiranyaksha was so evil and demonic, but when he died, it was his mother who cried, Diti. Similarly, when King Vane was killed by the anger of the Brahmanas, the mother, Sunitha, she cried. But our acharyas explain that Shri Vritrasur Maharaj was so unfortunate that he did not even have a mother. He was born from Yajna. He did not have a mother. So everyone hated him, and there was not one person who loved him. Vritrasur, not one person. Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu had their mother, Diti. Vain had Sunita, mother. But our Vritrasur Maharaj had no one to love him. And that was a blessing because he took complete shelter of Shri Krishna. So Sunitha, the mother of King Vane, decided to preserve the dead body of her son by the application of certain ingredients and by chanting mantras. Sunitha palayamasa vidya yogena shochati. Shochati means she was lamenting, but vidya yogena, by the use of mantras, she palayamasa, she preserved the dead body of Vane. She could not let go. That was her attachment to her son. 36. Ekada munayastetu sarasvat salila pluta hutvagnin Satkathas Chakrur Upavishtha Sarittate. Once upon a time, the same rishis, the same saintly persons, same munis, after taking their bath in the river Saraswati, began to perform their daily duties by offering oblations into the fire, sacrifices, sacrificial fire. That's the Nitya Karma, perform yajna. After this, sitting on the bank of the river Saraswati, the munis and sadhus and rishis, they began to talk about the transcendental person and his pastimes. Sat Katha. Sat means something that is eternal. So when we talk about football, cricket, politics, that is Asat Katha because these things are all temporary. Sat Katha means to speak about something that is eternal, permanent. So these sadhus, they took their bath and sitting on the banks of Saraswati, they performed yajna and then they started talking some Krishna Katha. 37. Vikshothitam tadotpatan ahurloka bhayankaran apyabhadram anathaya dasyubhyo na bhaved bhuvaha. In those days, there were various disturbances in the country that were creating a panic in society. Therefore, all the sages began to talk amongst themselves. Do we have disturbances in society today? Yes, we have a lot of disturbances. Utpat. Utpat means disturbance. And this utpat causes bhayam karan. It causes bhay, causes fear. Because no one likes utpat. Why no one likes utpat? Raise your hand. Why is it that we don't like utpat? Very simple. We are anandamaya bhyasa. The nature of the soul is to be happy. The nature of the soul is to be eternal. But utpat caused death. When COVID came, there was utpat. Now so many wars are going on, there is utpat in those countries, disturbance. And what happens during disturbance? Many thousands of people are killed. And it is not the nature of the soul to die. Therefore, soul doesn't like death. It is not the nature. Soul doesn't die. But by having atmiyata towards the material body, the soul has to experience death and experience fear of death, which is completely alien to the nature of the soul. That is why no one likes to die. The default setting is, default tendency is to live. We try to avoid death. But in this material world, we consider ourselves the material body, and the material body is inevitably going to die. Therefore, there is bhaya. Says here, bhayankara. Bhayankar, kar means to bring about. It brings about bhaya, fear. Whereas Krishna's lotus feet are called abhay. Bhajahure mana Shrinandanandana abhaya charanar vindare. Prabhupada name. In those days, there were various disturbances in the country that were creating a panic in society. Therefore, all the sages began to talk amongst themselves. Since the king is dead, King Vane is dead, and there is no protector in the world, misfortune may befall the people in general on account of rogues and thieves. So, Vane was a rogue king. He was a mischievous king, and therefore he was allowed to die. In fact, he was killed by the sages. But because he is gone, now other evil people, they started creating panic. Vane was the king of rogues. When he is gone, the other rogues, they started creating panic. Thieves, robbers, etc. Purport. Whenever there is a disturbance in a state, or whenever there is panic, the property and lives of the citizens becomes unsafe. This is caused by uprising of various thieves and rogues. In this material world, we try to fix one problem, and sometimes, not sometimes, generally, it creates a bigger problem. The sages killed Vane because he was creating irreligion. He was creating havoc in society. But what happened after Vane was killed, there was even more havoc. Because first there was one Vane, now there are thousands of Vane all over. There's a nature of the material world. Material world is a very complex place. You try to solve a problem, and the solution can create worse problems. In this age of Kali, everything is disturbed. Prayana alpa sabya kalavasmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadruta. Upadruta means there's disturbance. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, therefore, saintly person should take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as recommended in the Shastra. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam. Kalo nastiva, nastiva, nastiva gatiranyatha. Both for spiritual and material prosperity, everyone should devotedly chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Srila Prabhupada says, for material as well as spiritual prosperity. 38. Evam mrishanta rishayo dhavatam sarvato disham pamsu samuthito bhuresh choranam abhilupatam. When the great sages were carrying out their discussion in this way, they saw a dust storm arising from all directions. This storm was caused by the running of thieves and rogues who were engaged in plundering the citizens. Now, knowing that there is no king in place, it was free for all. These rogues and thieves, they were just running amok, creating havoc. Thieves and rogues simply wait for some political upset in order to take opportunity to plunder the people in general. We have seen this. Whenever there is some political disturbance, sometimes people they start rioting. Have you seen riots? They start rioting, and what do they do during riots? They just randomly go to different shops and they start looting. In America, when there was some uprising because of certain things, some section of society they become upset and they just started breaking into Walmarts and Targets and just picking up television sets and this and that, computers, phones, and just walking away. Grocery. It's quite shocking how provoking situations can bring out the worst in people sometimes. 3940. Tad upadravam ajnaya lokasya vasalumpatan bhartar uparate tasmin anyonyam cha jighamsatam choraprayam janapadam hina sattvam arajakam lokan navarayan shakta api tad dosha darshinaha. Upon seeing the dust storm, the saintly persons could understand that there were a great deal of irregularities due to the death of King Vane. Without government, the state was devoid of law and order, and consequently, there was a great uprising of murderous thieves and rogues who were plundering the riches of the people in general. Although the great sages could subside the disturbance by their powers, just as they could subdue the king, Vane, they considered it improper on their part to do so. Thus, they did not attempt to stop the disturbance. Very important point. Sometimes we may be able to do something, but we may not be the authorized people. In that case, we should abstain from doing it. We should let the authorized people do it. The Brahman's duty is not to fight with rogues and thieves. Killing the king was practically an emergency because he was just creating so much havoc. But that doesn't mean that Brahmanas start doing the work of Kshatriya. To create law and order and to protect the citizens from thieves and rogues is the duty of the Kshatriya. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advises us that it is better to do one's own duty, even though imperfectly, than to do other people's duty, even though perfectly. This can be quite confusing and difficult to understand. Why so? Because all of us have a certain dharma based on our swabhav and our upbringing and our training. And it is better to stick to one's own roles and responsibilities rather than meddling in other people's roles and responsibilities. because that can create a disturbance in society. The Brahmanas are supposed to study Shastra, teach Shastra, perform Yajna, do Yajna, and teach others how to do Yajna, receive charity, give charity. The duty of a Kshatriya is to protect and fight against disturbances. Now, there is a need to fight against disturbances because these thieves and rogues have become very audacious, very murderous, and fearless because there is no king. Imagine there is no king. Who is going to give punishment? There's a vacuum, power vacuum. So all these criminals, they became very bold. So now there is a need to stop these thieves and rogues, but it takes a Kshatriya to do it. It's not a duty of the Brahmanas. They did it once for vain because it was an emergency, but they cannot just keep doing it again and again. So they decided not to kill the sages, the rogues and thieves who are disturbing the sages and looting people in general. Purport. The saintly persons and great sages killed King Vane out of emergency, but they did not choose to take part in the government in order to subdue the uprising of the thieves and rogues which took place after the death of King Vane. Why? Because it is not the duty of Brahmanas or saintly persons to kill, although they may sometimes do so in case of emergency. They could kill all the thieves and rogues by the power of their mantras, but they thought it the duty of Kshatriya king to do so. So thus they did not do it. 41. Brahmana samadrikshanto dīnānām samupekshaka sravate brahma tasyapi bhinna bhandat payoyatha. The great sages began to think that although Brahman is peaceful and impartial because he's equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, the Brahman's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. Every time a Brahman takes their Brahman thread and speaks a curse, the Brahman loses his pious credit, loses the pious credit. Therefore, a Brahman is not supposed to curse. So now they don't want to curse. They cursed once King Vane, and for that they have to use their Brahminical tej, Brahminical power. They have to use it up. So they lose their strength by cursing. They do not wish to curse. At the same time, they don't want to turn a blind eye to what is happening in society, how these murderous thieves are troubling everyone. They cannot turn a blind eye to that. So they cannot get involved themselves, yet they have to do something. So let's see what they do. If we neglect, then the power will diminish, just as water kept in a cracked pot will keep leaking out and the water level will diminish. Similarly, when Brahman starts cursing, I curse you, you didn't do this, I curse you, I curse you. Every time they curse, they lose their power. So both ways they are losing power. If they don't act and let the thieves and rogues plunder the society because of offense of omission to do their duty, their part, they will lose their pious credits. If they get involved in the work of killing the rogues and thieves, which is Kshatriya work, then also they will get um, impiety. So they have to find a middle ground. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Brahmanas are the topmost section of human society. Mostly they are devotees, Prabhupada says. They are generally unaware of the happenings within the material world because they are busy in spiritual advancement. Now, Prabhupada says the Brahman in their elevated condition is called Vaishnava. Hare Krishna. So Vaishnava is superior to a Brahman. There are two types of Brahmanas. There are Brahman Pandit and there is Brahman Vaishnava. A qualified Brahman is naturally very learned. But when his learning is advanced in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes a Brahman Vaishnava. Unless one becomes a Vaishnava, one's perfection of Brahminical culture is incomplete. That is the point. The saintly persons considered very wisely that although King Vane was very sinful. He was born in the family descending from Sri Dhruv Maharaj. Therefore, the semen in the family must be protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Keshav. As such, the sages wanted to take some steps to relieve the situation. For want of a king, everything was being disturbed and turned topsy-turvy. Text 42. नान्गस्य वंशो राजर्षेर् एष संस्थातुम् अर्हति अमोघ वीर्या हि नृपा वंशे अस्मिन् केशवाश्रया. The sages decided that the descendants of the family of the saintly king Anga should not be stopped. For in this family, the semen was very powerful, and the children were prone to becoming devotees of Krishna. The purity of hereditary succession is called Amogha Virya. Virya means semen. Amogha means very powerful, something that cannot be overwhelmed. Perfect. The pious seminal succession in the twice born families of the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, especially, as well as families of Vaishyas also, must be kept very pure by the observation of the purificatory process beginning with Garbhadana Samskar, which is observed before conceiving a child. Srila Prabhupada says, unless we do these samskars, the progeny will be impure. Maharaj Anga was very pure because of the purification of semen in the family of Maharaj Dhruv. However, his semen became contaminated in the association of his wife Sunitha, who happened to be the daughter of Death personified. Because of this polluted semen, King Vane was produced. This was a catastrophe in the family of Dhruv Maharaj. All the saintly persons and sages considered this point and they decided to take action in this matter, as described in the following verses. Now, what action was taken? Vinishchitaivam rishayo vipannasya mahipate mamanthur urum tarasa tatrasid bahuko naraha. After making a decision, the saintly person and sages churned the thighs of the dead body of King Vane with great force and according to a specific method. The specific method, we cannot just start churning a dead body, not like that. The specific method, there are mantras, procedure. As a result of this churning, a dwarf-like person was born from King Vane's body. Bahuka means dwarf-like person. Purport. That a person was born by the churning of the thighs of King Vane proves that the spirit soul is individual and separate from the body. The great sages and saintly persons could beget another person from the body of a dead King Vane, but it was not possible for them to bring King Vane back to life. King Vane was gone, and certainly he had taken another body. The saintly person and sages were only concerned with the body of Vane because it was the result of the seminal succession in the family of Dhruv Maharaj. Consequently, the ingredients by which another body could be produced were there in the body of King Vane. By a certain process, when the thighs of a dead body are churned, another body came out. Although dead, the body of King Vane was preserved by drugs and mantras chanted by King Vane's mother. In this way, the ingredients of production of another body were there. When the body of the person named Bahuka came out of the dead body of King Vane, it was really not very astonishing. It was simply a question of knowing how to do it. From the semen of one body, another body is produced, and the life symptoms are visible due to the soul's taking shelter of his body. One should not think that it was impossible for another body to come out of the dead body of King Vane. This was performed by the skillful action of the sages. They were very expert. Text 44. Kaka Krishno Tirishwango Rishwa Bahur Mahahanu Riswa Pana Nimna Nasagro Rakta Takshastamra Murdhajaha. This person born from King Vain's thighs was named Bahuk. His complexion was black like a crow. Kaka Krishna. Krishna means dark. Kaka means crow. All the limbs of his body were very short. Ati Risva Anga. His limbs were very short. His arms and legs were short too, and his jaws were large. His nose was flat, and eyes were reddish, and his hair copper colored. Hare Krishna. Tam tute vanatam deenam kim karomiti vadinam nishide abruvam stat sa nishadas tato bhavat. This person born from the thigh of King Vain's, the churning of the thigh of the King Vain, was named Bahuk, and he was very submissive and meek. Avanatam means he's bowing down. Deenam, very meek, humble. He was very submissive, meek, humble, and immediately after his birth, he bowed down and inquired, Sirs, what shall I do? The great sage replied, Please sit down. Nishida. Thus, Nishad, the father of the Nishad race, was born. Hare Krishna. It is said in the Shastras that the head of the body represents Brahmanas, arm Kshatriyas, belly Vaishyas, and the legs beginning with thighs below represent Shudras. The Shudras are sometimes called black or Krishna. The Brahmanas are called Shukla, white. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are mixed of black and white, but Shudras are called Krishna, black. So this person who appeared was like a Shudra. It may be concluded that white or a golden hue is the color of higher caste, and black is the complexion of the Shudras. However, those who are extraordinarily white are said to have skin produced out of white leprosy. So, some disease Srila Prabhupada is talking about. 46. Tasya vamshastu naishada giri kanana gochara yena haraj jayamano vena kalmasham ulbanam. After his Nishad's birth, After the Nishad's birth, he immediately took charge of all the resultant actions of King Vain's sinful activities. As such, this Naishad class are always engaged in sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Consequently, they are only allowed to live in the hills and forests, the Nishads. The Naishadas are not allowed to live in cities and towns because they are sinful by nature. As such, their bodies are very ugly and their occupations are also sinful. We should, however, know that even these sinful men, who are sometimes called kiratas, can be delivered from their sinful condition to the topmost Vaishnava platform by the mercy of pure devotees. So it doesn't matter whether one is kirat, nishad, whoever one is. If we get the mercy of a pure devotee, then we can attain the highest perfection of life, even though our body was born in a lower class family. Mami partha vipashritya yepi su papa yonayah striyo vaishya sadha shudras tepi yanti paramgatim. O son of Pritha, Arjun, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, Shudras, can approach the supreme destination. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports, 4th canto, chapter 14, chapter entitled The Story of King Vain. So from Vain's body was born this Bahuka, and from Bahuka was born Nishad. who took charge of all the sinful activities. Text 15. Beg your pardon. Chapter 15. King Prithu's appearance and coronation. This is chapter 15 of fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 1. Maitreya uvacha atatasya punarviprair aputrasya mahipate bahubhyam madhyamanabhyam mithunam samapadyata. The great sage Maitreya Muni continued, my dear Vidur, thus the Brahmanas and the great sages again churned the two arms of King Vain's dead body. As a result, a male and a female couple came out the arms of King Vain. From the thigh came Bahuk, from whom came Nishad. तद्दृष्ट्वा मिथुनं जातं ऋषयो ब्रह्मवादिनः ऊचुः परमसन्तुष्टा विदित्वा भगवत्कलाम्. Sri Maitreya is telling Mahatma Vidur that the Brahmanas and the sages they churned the two arms of King Vain, his dead body, and as a result, male and female couple came out of his arms. The great sages were highly learned in Vedic knowledge. When they saw the male and female born from the arms of King Vain, they were very pleased, for they could understand that the couple was an expansion of the plenary portion of Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna. Viditva Bhagavat Kalam means Kala, means a small portion. The sages could understand that the boy and girl were a couple and they were expansion of plenary portion of Lord Vishnu. Purport. The method adopted by great sages and scholars who were learned in Vedic knowledge was perfect. They removed all the reactions of King Vain's sinful activities by seeing that King Vain first gave birth to Bahuk, described in previous chapter. After King Vain's body was purified, a male and female came out of it, and the great sages could understand that this was an expansion of Lord Vishnu. This expansion, of course, was not Vishnu Tattva, but a specifically empowered expansion of Lord Vishnu known as Avesh. So this child of born from the body of King Vain is incarnation of Surya Dev. Sorry, I don't know what I just said. Sorry, I was very sleepy. They removed all the reactions of King Vain's sinful activities by seeing that King Vain first gave birth to Bahuk. After King Vain's body was purified, male and female came out, correct. And the great sages could understand expansion of Lord Vishnu. Shakti Avatar. Text 3. Rishaya Uchuhu Esha Vishnor Bhagavatah Kala Bhuvana Palini Iyam Cha Lakshmya Sambhuti Purushasya Napayini. The great sages said, the male is a plenary expansion of the power of Lord Vishnu who maintains the entire universe. Bhuvana Palini, who maintains the world. Vishnu Kala. Vishnor Bhagavata Kala Esha. This person is a expansion of Lord Vishnu. How? Shaktavesha Avatar. And the female is a plenary expansion of Goddess of Fortune, who is never separated from him. She is the goddess of Lakshmya, goddess of fortune. Iyam cha Lakshmya. This is Lakshmi. Sambhuti Purushasya Anapayini. Anapayini means she is inseparable from the Purush, Lord Vishnu. Lakshmi and Vishnu are inseparable. Purport. The significance of the goddess of fortune being never separated from the Lord is clearly mentioned here. Apayini. Anapayini. Anapayini means inseparable. People in the material world are very fond of goddess of fortune and they want her favor in the form of money and riches. They should know, however, that goddess of fortune is inseparable from Lord Vishnu. So we should always worship Lakshmi ji with Lord Vishnu. That's how she is happiest. Worship Srimati Radharani with Sri Krishna always. Otherwise, if you only want Lakshmi without Narayan, then we are like Ravan. है ना? We are like Ravan. Ravan wanted Sita without Ram. 4. Ayam tu prathamo radnyam पुमान् प्रथयिता यशः पृथुर्नाम महाराजो भविष्यति पृथुश्रवा. Of the two, the male will be able to expand his reputation throughout the world. Puman prathayita yasha. Yasha, his reputation, fame, will prathayita, will expand everywhere. His name will be Prithu. Prithur Nama Maharajo. His name will be Prithu, the great king. Indeed, he will be the first among kings. He will be the best among the king, this Prithu. Very nice. There are different types of incarnations of Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Shastras, it is said that Garud, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva and Ananta are all very powerful incarnations of the Brahman feature of the Lord. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan. Similarly, Shachipati or Indra, king of heaven, is an incarnation of the lusty feature of the Lord. Aniruddha is an incarnation of the Lord's mind. Similarly, King Prithu is an incarnation of the ruling force of Bhagavan. See, different incarnations demonstrate different opulence of Bhagavan. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj, because he represents the governing feature of Bhagavan, they knew that he will be a king. 5. Iyam cha sudati devi guna bhushana bhushana archir nama vararoha prithum eva varundhati. The female has such beautiful teeth and beautiful qualities that she will actually beautify the ornaments she wears. Her name will be Archi. Archi Nama Vararoha. She'll be very beautiful. In the future, she will accept King Prithu as her husband. She will accept Prithu as the husband. Prithum eva avarundhati. She will accept Prithu Maharaj as her husband. 6. एष साक्षाधरेर अंशो जातो लोक रिरक्षया इयं च तत्परा हि श्रीर अनुजज्ञे napayini. In the form of King Prithu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared through a part of his potency to protect the people of the world. Why did King Prithu come? Shakti-avesh avatar, specially empowered incarnation of Bhagwan to protect people from these thieves and rogues. The good goddess of fortune is the constant companion of the Lord, and therefore she has incarnated partially as Archi to become King Prithu's queen. There are innumerable, purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, there are innumerable such personalities, but not all of them are direct Vishnu Tattva, plenary expansions of the Lord. Many living entities are classified among the Shakti Tattva. Such incarnations empowered for specific purpose are known as Shakti-avesh avatar. King Prithu was a Shakti-avesh avatar of the Lord. Similarly, Archi, King Prithu's wife, was Shakti-avesh avatar of the goddess of fortune. Haribol. 7. Maitreya Uvacha Prashamsanti Smatam Vipra Gandharva Pravarajagu Mumuchu Sumano Dhara Siddha Nrityanti Swastriyaha. The great sage Maitreya Muni continued narrating to Mahatma Vidurji, my dear Vidurji, at that time all the Brahmanas highly praised and glorified King Prithu, and the best singers of Gandharvalok chanted King Prithu's glories. The inhabitants of Siddhalok showered flowers, and the beautiful women in the heavenly planets danced in ecstasy. When Prithu Maharaj appeared, the sages recognized, oh, this incarnation of the specific Shakti of Bhagwan, the ruling Shakti, the specific power to maintain people. That Palan Shakti of Bhagwan has incarnated as Prithu Maharaj. So as Prithu Maharaj appeared from the body of Vain, all the demigods started showering flowers. Demigods? From Gandharvalok. They were singing the glories. And Siddhalok residents started showering flower. And heavenly beautiful women, they were dancing in ecstasy. The Brahmanas started glorifying King Prithu. Now, remember this, okay? The Brahmanas started glorifying King Prithu after he appeared. And then what Prithu Maharaj does for that is very, very enlightening. Prithu Maharaj says, don't praise me. I have not done anything yet. When I do something good, then you may praise, but don't praise me now. Prithu Maharaj will say that in the next class. So we'll stop here, dear devotees. We'll continue Krishna willing from text 8. Today's Tuesday. So day after tomorrow, we'll continue from text 8 of the 15th chapter. Text 8. We did 7 verses of the 15th chapter today. And we completed the 14th chapter. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Yes, Satyarva Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, chapter 14 completes module 6.
What are you saying? Really? I thought 20 or something like that, because the next memorization verses. Oh, okay. Good. So we finished module which 6.
Oops.
So only 4 modules to go. Hari Bol. Very happy. So now what do we do? Exam. Yes, exam. So actually good timing, because now we have visiting preachers. So there will be some we'll miss some classes. So today is so we'll have class on 23rd. We'll have class on 28th. We'll have class on 30th also. Then 4th of August, we have Raj Bihari Prabhu. So 4th of August, Tuesday, USA time, we'll have exam. Okay. And then 6th of August, we'll have regular class. Thursday. So August 4th, Tuesday, USA time, we will have exam on the 6th module. I'm so happy we've completed 6 modules out of 10. Very well. Okay. Thank you, dear. Sorry, I was super sleepy today. I'm sorry. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Well, that was not a question. That was a reminder by Satya Mataji. Finished module 6. Okay. Thank you, dear devotees. I will see you day after tomorrow, Krishna willing. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please say Hari Bol, so I feel very happy. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.